All right, hey everybody, this is Nash here. I'm here to talk some breaking Texas football news. The Texas Longhorns have officially been accepted they've been invited into the SEC conference to be effective starting July 1st, 2025, to begin sport competition for the academic year of 2025 through 2026. Now, is big news. They held a meeting and got a unanimous vote, 14-0. So that means yes, Texas A&M did fall in line like the good SEC soldier they are, and they voted yes, we want Texas in. After all the complaining and the hoopla and all that stuff that they had aired the last week, the first day that the news broke that they broke, I mean, it was a Texas A&M news. I wouldn't call it a site because it was a Houston Chronicle, but Houston Chronicle's not reporting anything on Texas. So we'll just you can read in between the lines and figure it out if you got any sort of brain. But in the end, Texas A&M, they voted yes, we will extend our invitation. After all that crap that they made about their little pinky swear about, we were promised that we would be the only school from Texas. We want to be the only school from Texas. Yeah. How'd that work out for y'all? And then now it's also, with the SEC vote, 14-0. I mean, it's expected that the SEC, now they said 2025 and 2026, but it's expected that the SEC is going to try and send their money, lawyers, and all their ammo and try and get as much as they can to get Texas and Oklahoma in that conference as soon as possible. 2022 is, that's it. That's in the crosshairs, in the scope right now. They're not even looking at 2023, 2024, 2025. 2025 is an afterthought. You can forget about that. And that is a great transition into what I want to talk about next, was how soon are we going to get in there? And I said there's a way that we will get into there's a way we can get into the SEC before 2025 in the last video. And I never expanded on that, and that's my fault, and I apologize. But I'm here to do that now. Texas Longhorns and Oklahoma Sooners can get into the SEC before 2025 a couple of ways. The first two options that I can think of off the top of my head are money, a lot of money, and league folding, the Big 12 folding. Now, we'll get into the Big 12 folding in a minute because that's a realistic possibility. And the way Bob Bowlesby is handling this whole thing is very Aggie-esque, so to speak. So, what is the most realistic way? I think it's going to be league folding. Maybe we'd pay. I don't know. I can't. I can see Texas wanting to pay, but I can also see Texas wanting to not pay because this move is to make money. It's to make more money. And if they're not making more money, Texas isn't happy. I mean, look at Texas. Longhorn Network was a giant pile of crap. Why did we keep it? Because it gave us more money. So, I mean, we had a good money deal there, but I don't know. I don't know if it was a good money deal, but we were getting money, and that's why we allowed Longhorn Network to be a pile of crap. Longhorn fans hate that, and I'm sure all of my people watching this video are agreeing with me. So I'm not even going to talk about it anymore. So what is the SEC going to look like now? There's a couple ways that you could do this. I mean, you could go the traditional East-West route. So we'll start off with the East: Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida. And then the West, you got Texas, LSU, Arkansas, A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Missouri, Mississippi State. So, I mean, you could go that traditional route. 8 teams per side. And I'm not sure how the schedule would play out, but I'm sure there's a multitude of options that you could do with that setup. Now, this is interesting because the SEC network put it on their on the Big 12 or on the not Big 12 on the SEC media days. They put this up on the screen, suggesting that they've already kind of thought about it. I mean, because they had a graphic ready to go, but it's a 4-team pod, 9-game schedule format. Play the other 3 teams in your pod every season. Every team has every pod has 4 teams. Play 2 games against each of the other pods, and host every team once every 4 seasons. Now, here's what the pods could look like. Here's what they would look like with the logos. You got Pod 1, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Missouri. Pod 2, LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Pod 3, Alabama, Tennessee, Auburn, Vanderbilt. Pod 4, Florida Gators, Georgia, Kentucky, and South Carolina. And, I mean, I don't hate that idea. Because, one, even if we don't play A&M every year, I'm fine with that. I would love to play A&M every year. I'm not going to pretend that I wouldn't, because I love the delusion at family get-togethers from Thanksgiving. I enjoy it. So, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to have a little rivalry and want to talk some smack with family and friends. Arkansas. I'm gonna do a video on that, man. This is a heated rivalry that's about to spark up. And I think it's gonna spark up in a big way this year. Because those fans hate Texas. They hate them. If you're a Texas fan and you have on Longhorn gear in Arkansas and we're playing that, you better take it off. You're not going to get any service, nothing. Oklahoma and Missouri. So you got 2 legit rivals. One, Arkansas, recently they haven't been as good. So I'm not to say that they're of the same level of Oklahoma, but they are a rivalry game, and that's what I'm trying to get to. But Missouri's just kind of poke a stick at it and point and laugh for the most part for us. I mean, I remember one game watching early on. I think it was like 2008 or something like that. I was watching with my cousin, and me and my cousin were actually starting to cheer for Missouri because we were beating them so bad. And we were like, man, we want to see them get the ball past the 50-yard line once. And when they did, we're like, oh, wow, that's an accomplishment for them this game. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see all these games getting booted back up. To be honest, I care way more about playing these games, and I'm going to miss TCU. I will. I wish we would have beat them before. I wish we would have got to beat them. Hopefully we can this year. And I mean consistently. I wish we would have got them beat them consistently before leaving the Big 12, because now it kind of looks like, hey, we were running away from them. But we weren't. We're just got a better opportunity somewhere else. Now, the remaining Big 12 teams I said I would expand into how the league could fold. And that could fold by the Big 12 teams bolting. And there is a rumor out there that the AAC, the American Athletic Conference, is courting all remaining 8 teams from the Big 12. Now, old Bob Bowlesby, he's issued a cease and desist letter to ESPN. He believes that the ESPN network has been accelerating this, and they've been in the talks and manipulating other conferences to go after our members. That's in a quote. So he's not happy with ESPN. He wants his remaining teams to stay. And in my opinion, I think they're gone. I think no matter what he does, these teams are gone. No matter what little promise they make in the meeting room that they're going to stay together and they won't leave each other, the Big 12 is done. It's dead. It doesn't matter if they add in other teams. It's a dead conference. I think it's interesting thinking about the rest of the teams going to the AAC. I don't know if that would make it a Power 5 conference, make it so where the rest of the Big 12 going into the AAC, that the AAC would assume the Power 5 name that the Big 12 had, since the Big 12 would because it would at that point it would basically be I'm not too sure about the Big 8 and how that worked, but it just sounds like it sounds like almost like the Southwestern. This is better. It sounds like the Southwest Conference turning into the Big 12, and the funny part about this is ESPN, they're claiming to Robert Bowlesby, who signs his name with 7 T's. They're saying, hey, you have nothing to your cease and desist letter. It's just pure accusations. They don't have merit. A single vague allegation, quote, has been, quote, actively engaged in discussions with at least one other unnamed conference, which ESPN disputes. Your letter consists of entirely unsubstantiated speculation and legal conclusions. To be clear, ESPN is engaged in no wrongful conduct, and therefore there is nothing to, quote, cease and desist. We trust this will put the matter to rest. ESPN reserves all rights and remedies in this connection with this matter. Sincerely, Burke Magnus. Now, yeah, there's just not too much to go into on here, or too much more to go into on here. The Big 12 is dead. Dead in the water. Bob Bowlesby, he's trying his best, but I think he's in denial. I think he's denying the reality of the situation, and I do feel bad for the guy a little bit, but at the same time I don't, because this is the entire reason why we're leaving is because of his I don't know, inept is the right word. Inept management. He was not the leader that we needed in the Big 12 conference. We needed somebody better, somebody smarter. Now, how soon do I think that we're in? I think we're in 2022. Like I said in my last video, I cannot see how we play a 2022 season full well knowing that we're still going to be leaving in 2023 or 2024. That's, like I said in the last one, that's like divorcing with your wife and then sleeping in the same bed and saying, oh, well, in a little bit I'm going to go marry that other girl, but for right now I'm just going to keep sleeping with you. That's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Well, I appreciate it for y'all tuning into this video. Yeah. So, breaking news, Texas joining the SEC. Man, how will we do in the SEC? Who knows? I'm excited to see what happens under Steve Sarkisian. This year is going to be a big year for us. We are going to get a lot of... The Big 12 is known for horrible officiating. And I don't think that's going to get any better this year. Because if there was ever a year for Texas fans to think that the game was rigged against them, this is the year. Well, all right, thank you. Y'all have a good one, and I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my day here. Hook 'em.